Dr. Tony D. Collins is here to encourage, motivate, inspire, guide you into excellence. Your success matters. Your dreams matter. Sign up right now with Shepherd One Coaching and become a better you. Dr. Tony D. Collins is here to encourage, motivate, inspire, guide you into excellence. Your success matters. Your dreams matter. Sign up right now with Shepherd One Coaching and become a better you. Dr. Tony D. Collins is here to encourage, motivate, inspire, guide you into excellence. Your success matters. Your dreams matter. Sign up right now with Shepherd One Coaching and become a better you. Dr. Tony D. Collins is here to encourage, motivate, inspire, guide you into excellence. Your success matters. Your dreams matter. Sign up right now with Shepherd One Coaching and become a better you. Dr. Tony D. Collins is here to encourage, motivate, inspire, guide you into excellence. Your success matters. Your dreams matter. Sign up right now with Shepherd One Coaching and become a better you. Dr. Tony D. Collins is here to encourage, motivate, inspire, guide you into excellence. Your success matters. Your dreams matter. Sign up right now with Shepherd One Coaching and become a better you. Dr. Tony D. Collins is here to encourage, motivate, inspire, guide you into excellence. Your success matters. Your dreams matter. Sign up right now with Shepherd One Coaching and become a better you.
Well, hello, and welcome to Boca Moments. Wow. As y'all can well see, I am so hyped tonight. Hey, how about those Chiefs? Man, oh man. I am still stoked from last night's Super Bowl victory by our beloved Kansas City Chiefs. Now, whether you love them or hate them, you got to admit, We were entertained with an amazing Super Bowl on yesterday, and I am so fired up and so excited that we came out on the right side of victory. What a game! What a game! What a game! What a game! I'm telling you, that game had me on the edge of my seat all night. Well, actually, it had me on the edge of my seat. It had me walking around my man cave. It had me sitting on the floor. At times, I didn't feel like that I could put anything else on my stomach because I don't know. I just was so nervous during the course of this game. But what a game. You know, the team got off to a slow start. And for a while, I wasn't quite sure if they were ever going to get things going in the right direction. And I know I'm not the only one who felt like that. If some of you felt as though that you knew they had it the whole time, I need to take some kind of lessons or some kind of coaching from you, because I need to know how to have that kind of confidence while the team is facing all the adversity they were facing. Y'all know that the first half, it was a tough half. Our offense seemed not to be able to get anything going. But, you know, the reality is, considering how this season had gone, the slow start last night seemed to be par for the course. We've been watching this all year long. For most Chiefs fans, the entire season was a roller coaster ride, and it was filled with thrills and spills and twists and turns and ups and downs. And last night's game was absolutely no different. I'm telling you, I've got to confess that I didn't know for a while. Now, I maintained hope the whole time, but it was looking shaky all night last night. But, you know, as nerve-wracking as it may have been, that game was also very inspiring. You see, I'm the person, when I look at things, when I view things, whatever it is I may be viewing or looking at, I'm always trying to find something inspiring out of what I'm viewing. I don't care what it is. That's just me. That's just me. I'm a very observant person. I can drive down the street and see something happening on the sidewalk or on the streets, or how a person's driving, or whatever it may be, birds flying in the air. I just seem to find inspiration out of whatever I'm viewing at any given time. And I found inspiration out of that game as I watched it last night. How so? Think about it. Think about it. All year, the Chiefs had to fight through all kinds of major adversities. They had to endure the noise of their critics, who in many cases turned out to be nothing more than their haters. You know, if you watch any kind of sports shows like I do that often, probably every day. I'm tuning in for some period of time to some sports show, and I'm listening to the pontificators and the analysis that they throw out there and everything. And there was a lot of noise. There was a lot of critics of the Kansas City Chiefs throughout the whole entire season. And the Chiefs had to deal with it. They had to persevere through some major growing pains, you know, such as receivers dropping passes, players committing penalties at the most inopportune times, drawing unwanted attention to themselves. They were having to deal with this all year. And ultimately, they had to deal with being counted out even before finishing out the season. Most of them talked about how when the Chiefs dropped that major game to the hated Las Vegas Raiders on Christmas Day, they felt as though the Chiefs season was done, because I think at that particular time, the Chiefs had lost 4 out of the previous 5 games. And it looked like their season was going straight downhill, headed for the toilet, about to be flesh, you know. And it was very, very, very nerve-wracking. It was disappointing. Things weren't looking good. But you know, the one thing that the Chiefs had going for them, what they had going in their favor, was their belief in themselves. I want you to let that soak in for a minute or two. Those of you that are just joining us, yes, I'm reviewing and going over last night's activities with regards to the Super Bowl and how elated I was to see our Chiefs win another Lombardi trophy. But for most of the game, it just didn't look good and it just didn't feel good. Those that were here watching the game with me, they can tell you that I was very, very, very nervous at times. Now, I will say this. I never gave up hope. Just because you get nervous doesn't mean that you give up hope. I was just wanting to get to a point where I could just sit back and relax and say, we got this, and we just cruise on into victory. But as things turned out, it wasn't happening that way. And I was just saying just a few minutes ago, for those of you that are just joining us, how the Chiefs, despite of all their critics throughout the entire season, despite their haters, despite the odds being against them, the one thing they had going for themselves was their belief in themselves. When most of the rest of the world was counting them out and saying that they would never make it, they continue to believe in themselves. I know that was challenging for them because, I think sometimes we seem to think that athletes live in a bubble wherein they're totally insulated from whatever else is going on in the world at any given time. But they don't live in a bubble. They hear the noise. They know what's being said about them in national media. But despite all of that going on, those players on the Kansas City Chiefs maintained their focus. They kept their eyes on the prize. They stayed united when adversity threatened to pull them apart. And that's really what made all the difference in that game last night. I mean, think about it. When the going got tough, the tough got going. When the heat was on, they remained calm, cool, and collected. Even when Travis Kelce seemed to be having a meltdown on the sideline, it wasn't a meltdown. He was just expressing his desire and his passion to win. See, here's what you got to understand. You got to understand that there is an eternal fire that burns deep in the soul of a winner. I want you to think about that. I think I'm going to say that again. There's an internal fire that burns deep in the soul of a winner. People who know that they're winners, they can relate to this. They know that there's a burning fire, an internal fire that continuously burns in you if you truly are a winner. I'll tell you something about winners. Winners are determined not to be denied despite what things may look like. Winners don't panic or hit the panic button when they find themselves in what seems to be impossible situations. Winners know how to find that second win and flip on that switch and sprint for the finish line. That reminds me of when I was in high school and I ran cross country. And I'm telling you, running cross country, I believe it to be more mental than it is physical. And for those of you that are not familiar with the sport, it's when the runners run not a sprint, but they run long distance. Most of our races were at least 5 miles long, somewhere in that neighborhood. And while you're running that 5 miles, you would have to maintain a certain pace throughout that entire race. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself drifting far behind the rest of the runners. You had to make sure that you were constantly pushing yourself to keep up with the rest of the pack, to know that you even had a fighting chance to win the race. But then toward the end of the race, we would do what we call have that second wind to kick in. It was necessary that a runner be able to find that second wind. And when you found that second wind, you were able to kick it up into a higher gear, because despite the fact that you've been running a long distance at a certain pace, when it came to finishing up the race, you had to kick it into high gear. And sometimes when I would kick into high gear, that's when I would catch up with some of the people that were in front of me at that particular time or during that race. I find that second gear, and before I knew it, I'm itching closer and closer to the front of the pack. And if my wind was strong enough and my legs were with me and my mental state of mind was in the right place, then I was able to muster up enough speed and strength to at least have a respectable finish. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that I didn't finish in first place very many times, because it was difficult to do, especially with me being the height that I am, and some of the runners being much taller and having longer legs. Man, it was a real chore and a real job to try to just stay in the race and finish with a respectable finishing, in a respectable place. But I had the determination. I find my second win, and I do what I had to do to sprint toward the finish line. That's what winners do. They find a second win. They sprint for the finish line. Listen, winners care nothing about the odds being against them. And they can shut out the noise that's intended to distract them. Now, here's the lesson. The Kansas City Chiefs are winners. And not only are they winners, but they are champions. When they were least likely to finish as champions, they beat the odds and they came out victorious. They had a goal that they wanted to reach and a task that they wanted to accomplish. And they did it because they had heart, because they had determination, and because they had a will to win. That's all it really takes in life to win in life. A will to win. One of the primary things that I want you to take from this Mocha moment is that you can win despite the odds being against you. I'm going to say this real quick. Sadly, some of the people that had joined us checked back out because they thought I was only going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. Y'all know I just use certain things to set up other things. I wanted to tell you how you can be a winner. You can be a winner despite the odds being against you. Listen, before you start feeling sorry for yourself because you're going through a few things, know this: everyone experiences adversities in life. Everyone is faced with challenges and opposition at some time or another. But you know why winners win? Winners win because of their drive and their desire to win. Winners don't have time to make excuses. I mean, think about it. There's a lot of people that spend more time making excuses than actually working towards a goal. Winners don't have time for excuses. Winners don't allow themselves to lose focus. I mean, think about it. The Kansas City Chiefs last night in that game, they could have at any time, at any point in the first half, they could have lost their focus. They could have lost heart. They could have become so distracted by the fact that they weren't able to do what they had planned to do or strategized to do. They could have just given up in the first half. And let me say this. We all know that the second half was much different from the first half. You know why? Because they were able to take a break at halftime. They were able to go into the locker room and reassess where they were. They were able to go into the locker room and reorganize and reset themselves and get their minds prepared to play the second half. They knew that there was a lot of people that were in the stadium who were not cheering for them. I heard one report today said that they believe that probably 65% of the crowd was pro 49ers, in favor of the 49ers, and were rooting against the Chiefs. But winners are not deterred by the numbers of people who have set themselves against them. They don't care who's rooting against them. Winners don't allow themselves to be distracted by who don't like them and what people are saying about them. Winners win because they know and believe they are winners. That's right. So let me ask you, what goals have you set for yourself? What is it that you want to accomplish most? Now, again, these questions are very, very, very important because you can't reach any goals if you haven't set any goals for yourself. You can't accomplish anything if you have no desire to accomplish anything. Then the next question I would ask you is, do you believe in yourself? And if you believe in yourself, how is your belief being manifested in your life? Is your belief in yourself producing what you desire for it to produce? Of course, if you're not trying to do anything, of course, nothing's going to be produced. Your belief is nothing more than a nice thought, I guess you could say. But listen, if you haven't already, here's what you must do. And I want you to take the time to kind of jot this down, especially those of you that have hopes and dreams and desires and you want to accomplish something. Those of you that are entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs. You want to become entrepreneurs. You want to start that business. If you haven't already done these things, I want you to do these 7 things that I'm about to share with you. I believe it's absolutely necessary that you do this. Number 1, you got to set goals. That's so important. And in setting your goals, take the time to write your goals down. Write yourself the goals you set for yourself. Write those down. Put them in a place where you can see them at any given time. Stick them on the wall or on your computer monitor, that when you sit down at your computer, your goals are right there before you, and you're constantly being reminded of the goals that you have set for yourself. Number 2, create and develop a plan. Goals don't mean anything if you don't have a plan that you've developed for carrying out or working towards your goal. Number 3, implement and consistently work your plan. Again, set goals don't mean anything unless you create and develop a plan. But creating and developing a plan doesn't mean anything unless you implement and consistently work your plan. And let me say this for the record, you got to start somewhere. I'm so grateful to one of my indirect mentors in the person of Dr. Sam Chan. And I'm not just name dropping. I'm sharing the reality of what has happened with me through some of the wisdom that he has shared with me. Before starting my coaching business, I was having a conversation with Dr. Chan, and I was telling him what I was proposing to do, and he was wanting me to give him some timelines. And instead of giving him timelines, I started telling him what I was trying to accomplish first so that I would be perfectly positioned to start my business at the perfect time. And he said something to me that shook me to my core. He said, Dr. Cobbins, if you're waiting on the perfect time to start your business, you will never get started. He said, because there's never the perfect time. There's never the perfect situation. Basically, what he was saying is that you've got to start somewhere. And one of the principles that he teaches all the time, he talks about building your wings on the way down. You know, and that's an interesting principle because sometimes we want to soar before our wings are strong enough to support us soaring. But if we just get on out there and start flapping those wings as we're falling fast, then at some point before you crash, your wings are going to develop and you're going to gain the strength to flap, fly, and soar. Wow. So that's the reason why it's so important that you implement and then consistently work the plan that you have developed. Number 4, remove and reject any hindrances or obstacles that will keep you from reaching your goals. Those obstacles could be people. I know some of you hate to hear that, but sometimes people, especially those that have negative spirits, they can be hindrances. They can be obstacles. If what they speak is not in agreement with what you're believing for, then they're no good to you. Some people you just have to remove. I'm not saying kick people out of your lives, but what I am saying is that there are certain things that you ought to deem as off guards to them. You got to create some barriers at times. There are times that even though you may want to share some things with some people, knowing who they are, you just don't share certain things with certain people, especially when it comes to your dreams and vision. So you got to remove those things, whatever those things may be. If it's a habit that you have been having for many, many years, and you come to understand that that habit is keeping you from moving forward. That habit is hindering you from you fulfilling your dreams, reaching your goals, whatever that habit may be. It could be something as simple as watching too much television, watching television when you need to be working, that kind of thing. Simple as that. You got to remove those things. You got to be determined not to allow certain things to keep you from reaching your goal. Number 5, this is so important. Ignore the noise. And this one's going to really mess you up. Some of the noise that you may need to work most intensely at shutting out is the noise in your own head. Wow. I know you didn't see that one coming. Yeah, it's the noise in your own head. How do I know? Because I've been there. I've been at that point where I couldn't move forward because I was listening to all the noise in my own head. No, I'm not crazy. I've never been crazy. But listen, when self-talk is not positive talk, then your self-talk can be the noise in your own head. There are things that I know I should have done. I should have moved on, that I talked myself out of. And one of the reasons why I was able to talk myself out of certain things is because for every reason that I found supporting why I should move forward, I came up with at least 2 to 3 reasons why maybe this wasn't the right time or the right move. Only to look back now and to conclude that all that was going on was a bunch of noise in my head that was keeping me from doing what was best for me, that would have allowed me to pursue my dreams and achieve my goals and my dreams much earlier in life. You got to ignore the noise. Number 6, you got to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in you, then it does no good for anyone else to believe in you. Confidence starts from within. And please understand, there's a difference between confidence and cockiness. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence is knowing and believing that you're capable of accomplishing something. You got to believe in yourself. And never mind those instances where you tried and seemingly failed. Let me help you to look at that much differently. You really don't have any failures in life. You really only have lessons learned. Now, I will say this, though. A failure only becomes a failure when you've learned nothing from the attempt that you've made. You know, one of the things that I've discovered when I've tried things and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but I refused to give up on making the situation work, is that every time I run into an obstacle, a roadblock, or I try something and it doesn't come out the way I wanted it to, I learn, okay, so if I'm going to make this work, I should never do it that way ever again. I learn what not to do while on a journey to discover exactly what to do to make what I want to work. But I got to continue to believe in myself. I got to believe that despite my past experiences, there is yet the potential for me to succeed and overcome all of those other attempts wherein they were stepping stones and lessons learned. Now, I hope that really bless you right there. I really hope that bless your socks off. But now the final and the 7th thing, after setting your goals and creating and developing a plan, after you implement and consistently work your plan, after you remove and reject any hindrances and obstacles that will keep you from reaching your goals, after you have ignored the noise And when you have developed a solid belief in yourself, the seventh and final thing is move forward and beat the odds. Beat the odds. I want you to know for yourself, and going back to my Kansas City Chiefs analogy, I want you to know as the Chiefs knew for themselves. You got to know that there is a winner in you. There is a champion in you. How about this? It's okay to be a winner, but it is better to be a champion. Okay? Some of you may not agree with this, but it is a reality. It's the truth. The San Francisco 49ers did not win the championship, but that doesn't mean they were losers. They were still winners. There's just another level that they need to ascend to in order to get the prize. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that to you is because even once you start winning, don't stop aspiring to be better. Don't stop reaching for the prize. There is a champion in you. And here's what you got to do. Show yourself and the entire world exactly what you're made of and fulfill your greatest dreams. I hope that lit a fire under you right there. I hope somebody that is viewing this right now has pulled out your pad and pulled out your pen, and you start to jot down your goals and start to write out and develop a plan, a strategy for how you're going to accomplish and achieve your dreams and fulfill your goals. I hope you're right. Now, I hope that you don't just leave this Mocha moment and not carry with you the determination to not just be a winner, but to be a champion. Lastly, and I think this is most importantly, always remember that Jesus is Lord, and so you should allow him to be Lord of your life. That's our Mocha moment for today. God bless you all and have a wonderful evening. Good night.